this has gone viral. Okay, this is at an Eagles game, and I mean, Philadelphia's disavowed this guy. I don't think he can go back to an Eagles game. But this is an Eagles fan berating a female Packers fan. I'm going to get to the statement in a second, but I want to play the video first.
Can we even play this?
Can we play this, Justine?
I think she maybe did some magic.
All right, let's go ahead and play it.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and play it.
After reviewing the play, the runner was short of the goal line.
So he's swearing at her, called her this.
You don't get the full effect with the bleep, do you?
Yeah, he called her an ugly, dumb C word. It rhymes with punt. I don't think I got to go any further into that. So my statement, Len, I'll start with you. Taking your girl to an away game in the opposing team's jersey is a liability. Punt or go?
Go, 1,000% go. If you've been to a football game, and trust me, I have plenty of stories I can sit here and tell you. If you bring your girlfriend/wife to any football game in the opposing team's gear, things are good. You better be ready to go to jail. You better be ready to get arrested because you are opening the door for something to pop off. If it's me and I'm in that stadium, that guy's catching action immediately. He's catching hands. We're not making it out of the stadium. He's catching hands immediately. But I went to an Ole Miss game with my girlfriend and didn't know exactly where the seats were. They ended up to be in the student section, decked out in Auburn gear. And when I tell you I was like fighting in the jungle, I got in 4 fights and I got 2 drinks thrown on me and spit on, and I ended up getting kicked out. If you ever bring your girlfriend or wife to an opposing team's, a foreign country, which is basically what you're doing, you better be ready to throw hands because the things that are going to get said to her are irreversible. Irreversible.
Yeah.
And it's the truth.
It's like taking your wife to Iran and not putting that blanket over with the eye holes cut out.
I'm not going to do that.
I wouldn't do that even if she didn't have to wear the blanket. Coney, taking your girl to an away game in the opposing team's jersey is a liability, punt or go?
Punt. What are we doing? Where are we at in society where I can't even take my wife to a football game or else she gets spoken to this way? I took my wife to her first Michigan game. Texas fans were in the section. We're best friends now. I got his number. We may launch a startup together. I don't know. Okay, shout out to Texas fans. I don't know what's happening in Philadelphia. Now, I will preface this by saying I don't know what happened before this video started. Yeah, if you want to go sit in, say, the family section of an NFL stadium and you're talking all sorts of trash, best believe they're going to have something to say to you. My point basically is there is a line, right? Like, I'm not saying I would have thrown hands at this guy if he looks down and says, hey, your wife looks ugly in a crimson jersey, right? But there's some stuff that you can say where I'm sorry, I'm going to have to get physical, which that begs an interesting conversation I think all of us should talk about here, which is this guy now has gone viral. His information's out there. Like, is his life even worse? He got banned from the Eagles Stadium. Is his life worse off from the virality of this than it would have been if this guy threw hands on him?
I think it's a great question. I think, to me, what you're saying is, was it the smart play by the guy to video it and dox him? Is that more hurtful to him and overall than just beating him up?
Because the restraint not to get physical with him right there. I know myself.
Me too.
Right?
Like that guy's soft.
Yeah, to me, I think it's 2 things. 1, did you have a conversation with your wife before you went in? Did you have that conversation saying, listen, I work for the city council. You're wearing a Packers jersey.
Yeah.
If I get into a fight and go to jail, I'm going to lose my job, but I will defend your honor. Is that worth it? Or would you rather me do that, keep my job, and then I don't beat up or fight in your honor? I don't know which is worse. I even put on social media, I don't know what's worse. The guy who said it or the guy who didn't make him pay for saying it? Because again, Cone, like you said, I know myself. I know myself very well. And do I know what would happen with me working here if I did that video and then beat him up and got arrested? Would I still have a job? I don't know. I have a new baby girl. Here's what I would say. We ain't going to the game. And if we're going to the game, you ain't wearing that. Because I'm going to have to fight. If I took my wife, who's an Alabama fan, to an Iron Bowl at Auburn, wearing a Crimson Tide jersey, somebody's going to say something. And I know myself, I'm going to get pissed. And I'm trying to work on myself. I'm trying, but I am Kurt Crane's son. It's very quick.
You sound like Jules in Pulp Fiction.
If I was in that situation, though, and that man said, "Oh, shut up, woman," or something, okay, that's one thing. We'll trade places. Say it to my face, and then we'll figure it out. But you either put your hands on my wife, not even punching her, but just touching her, or you call her that. I'm about to test your gangster. That's what we're going to find out.
One thing, because you did mention the term doxing there. I just wanted to get this out because someone did post this guy's name and information. It was like a LinkedIn profile or something. And the person who posted that got all sorts of hate saying, this is so beta of you, doxing this guy when he had like one too many beers at a football game or something. A couple things. Like, that can't be an excuse. You had a couple beers to talk to a lady like that. And again, I don't know what happened before the video started recording. Let's preface it by saying that. But two, just on doxing, I thought doxing had a specific definition of like giving out someone's address or your kid's school.
Yeah, where they find his link
physically harm you. Like, I love that this guy is like his name's out there that we know who he is. Now, I'm not saying he should lose his job necessarily, but repercussions because we've been able to identify you after your behavior, I'm all for that.
Well, it's again, the guy, I feel like you had one of two options. Either you dox him or you beat his ass. Like, those are the two options you have. Like, because how weak would you look? Like, think about it. We're married. You have a girlfriend. Like, how weak as a man does that make you look? Like, so what's next? You gonna let him talk to your kids like that? Like, you have one of two options. You can the long game, which is what he played, or the short game, which is probably what would have happened to me in that situation. Now, if you're gonna win the fight, I don't know. That's different. But the fact I'll show up. That's the thing.
I just miss the good old days where you're not worried about doxing. You're not worried about like you would just fight each other.
Yeah.
You would just,
and that's it.
Yeah. You would just fight each other. And at the end of the day, that guy needs his ass whooped.
Yeah,
he does.
That type of guy needs his ass whooped because it might have never happened before. And some people deserve to be punched in the face. And that's that guy. Hell, you could have videoed it, the interaction, and then put the phone down and proceeded to whoop his ass after that. First of all, I would so much rather lose a job if that video came out and they thought I was the problem.
Yeah.
I don't want to work at that place.
Yeah, true.
I'm going to defend my wife's honor. I can't go back home and look my wife and kids in the eye after some random dude, the same people who booed Santa, so I'm not surprised that much, said that to my wife. That's insane.
Well done. All right, you got the Rick Barnes video.
All right, I don't know if y'all saw this. We got this video. Let's go ahead and pull it up. We're going to watch the video first, and then I'm going to ask you the question. Let's go ahead and roll. This is Rick Barnes, the head basketball coach at Texas.
I took him out first play of the second half because he didn't shoot the ball. I mean, that play was designed for that shot. And I told him, I said, if you're not going to do what you're getting paid to do, you sit over here because he is getting paid to do that.
All right, fellas, punter go. Paying college athletes will ultimately hold them more accountable. David, punter go.
I think that it's awesome that Rick Barnes said that. I mean, that's where we are in college athletics. I'm going to punt this, though, because like I've said for years, every time I walked into Schembechler Hall, I was being held accountable. Trust me, in every facet of the game, no matter how much I was being paid or not being paid when I was there. I think the type of guys who respond to like money being withheld or fined or statements like this are the type of guys who are already going to be accountable when it's just a scholarship on the line or when you're in high school and it's just that, hey, that's the way that you represent yourself. And the type of guys who aren't going to be held accountable when there's money on the line are already not going to do that. We see it all the time in the NFL, the NBA. What was it yesterday? Anthony Edwards, $285,000 he's been fined so far this year. So I think I know what Rick Barnes is saying. I just don't think there's that big of a difference between him saying, hey, I took a player out because he's not doing what he's paid to do versus I took a player out because he's not doing what I coached him to do. That player would have still gone out, right?
I'm going to go on this. And not because nobody got paid before NIL, but you're making even more money now and it's public. But what I'm happy about is that somebody finally said it. I've been saying this since NIL got started. Stop treating 18 to 22-year-olds like they're 10 years old. All they did was, and I'm glad you got NIL, but all they did was complain about coaches can go here and we can't. And you got the transfer portal. They're getting paid and we're not. Then you got NIL. If you want in the business, there's two sides of the business. And I think down the road, ultimately, is the key word. Not right now, because the athletes have all the power. The contracts aren't great. They win every lawsuit. But eventually, we're going to get to a point where the contracts are clean, they're buttoned up, there's an expectation, you get paid to do this and you're not doing it, there is going to be repercussions for those actions. I don't care if you're 18 years old, you're making an ungodly amount of money. If you're a 13-year-old, starts a lawn mowing business, and he charges people for cutting their lawns, and he does a bad job, you're not going to cut my lawn again. Not because you're 15 or 13, because you did a bad job. Money talks, BS walks. You want it in the business. There's two sides of the business. Thank goodness Rick Barnes had the balls to say this, because I've been saying it for 2 years.
Coney, rebuttal?
I'd like to ask these coaches a question, because with college athletes nowadays, it seems like the main statement is, hey, it's all about the money. I got to make a financial decision. I got to go and do what's best for my future. However, I'd like to ask these coaches, if you put these athletes to the test and said, hey, you can either be fined $15,000 tomorrow of your NIL and collective money, or you can go run the stadium stairs fully, like we used to have to do when we were punished. I think a lot of them in the moment would just choose to be fined. Is that not even an easier way out than some of the physical punishments that get burned in your brain and in your muscle memory, where, yeah, you don't want to lose $15,000, but in the moment, you know what? I'd rather do that than run the stadiums and be held accountable.
I'd rather take a bullet to the face than run stadiums again.
That's what my point.
Oh, for $15,000, I'll run the stadiums. Are you kidding me? Some of these guys grew up with no money.
Yeah,
had dirt
you
floors.
say that. That's why I'd like to ask the coach.
But see, that's where
let's do it. Let's put.
Well,
it
that's
to
why I think there still is, though. Even though I said that, a big difference in somebody that's in the professionals and then in college. Anthony Edwards, as bad as it is, he can afford to lose $285,000. He's made millions and millions and millions of dollars. These guys are trying to get to that point.
You're acting like every single college athlete is being responsible with their money, though. Yeah,
oh, no, I'm not.
They might go spend it on a down payment for a new Lamborghini they have for 2 weeks.
They would, but at least they're spending it on a Lamborghini, not to run steps.
That's why I phrased it as I like to hear
from the coach. Carson Beck guy.
Yeah, I know. He's like the richest player ever in the NIL era. But I'm just glad Rick Barnes said it.
All right, Rick Barnes, the Tennessee head coach, outside Texas, who also used to coach.
He used to coach at Texas. He actually went to Texas and just won.
Are those not the same universities?
Yeah, a lot of
two different places.
You'll have to deal with that one
later.
Good
luck, David. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Want to get to 200,000 subs. Let's make it happen, because I believe in you.